Hi and welcome to a new Crochet Along with Me episode. This one is for August of 2024. In these vlog episodes, I show you what I've been working on for the past month, what I finished, and I share some upcoming events or projects that are planned for the next month. I invite you to pick up your crochet project and to join me for the next half an hour and to share with me in the comments if you want to what you're working on right now and which of the following projects is your favorite from this episode. If you're interested in seeing how some of these projects got started, some of them also appear in other episodes, so you can check those out. There's a playlist with all of the vlog episodes. I've been doing this for 2 years now and one episode almost each month. Every episode I share one of the comments that was left on the previous episode. So in the last episode I shared a dress that I had made and I wasn't very happy with, but a lot of comments were positive. And EVO1950 says, "I like the dress, no way would I be cutting and recrocheting and all that. I would put a belt on it and go. The wispy cape is lovely too. I'd be most likely to make the cape with the feather wedges. You're very talented." Thank you so much. Yeah, I tried to wear that dress and I didn't really succeed, so it will get cut and remade from the straps down to the waist. And I don't know when that will be because the summer is nearly over, so probably not this year, but next year I will cut it, and if anyone wants to make one of their own, they're very welcome to. From now on I will be rather making this kind of dress with the flat or straight and simple stitch to the waist, and then we have a fabric that has different details in it. I would actually like to have some waist shaping because this one is just straight down, but we'll see in the future what I can do. And also something with a smaller neckline, so it's more comfortable for people who don't like to show this part of their body, which is totally acceptable. So you may have noticed that we are in a different setting from the previous episodes. And that's because we finished working on the living room in our house, so I can film here now. I hope from now on I can share my projects from here. And it's also a nice place to just come and sit here, relax, listen to some music, and crochet or read a book or anything, or even paint. I started painting again. Let me know if you're interested in seeing my paintings. They're not the best, but they're a representation of memories. Yeah, speaking of memories, I was recently in Berlin and met with the owner of Sparwolle, from where I got the yarn to make this dress that I'm wearing and the vest that I'm making right now. I got a big cake of 1500 meters of yarn, and they're in an almost rainbow-like gradient. I can't show you the cake because it started with green, and I didn't want to start with the green in the middle, and I don't like working from the outside of a cake, so I made it into a ball. But hopefully in the next vlog I can show you the whole thing. So this is what I'm working on right now. It's a very simple and meditative pattern. I actually had a much bigger piece than this made, and I didn't like the way it was sitting, and the armholes were not in the shape that I was enjoying, so I undid it all and started again. I learned a lot from the first iteration there, so I regret nothing. I'm using a 3mm hook. This is a 4-ply yarn, similar to all sorts of gradient yarn cakes that you can buy. This is a custom colorway that will be made specifically for the pattern, but you'll be able to use any color of yarn and also single colors as well. So this is my main project at the moment, and I will be focusing on this for the next few weeks. first making the sample and then writing up the pattern. I want the pattern to be also size inclusive, but since it's just a simple vest similar to a mandala vest, it will not have a lot of customization. You just change the distance between the armholes. So the armholes will be along one of these shapes. So one armhole will be here and one armhole on the other side in the symmetrical place. And then you just continue in the pattern. You just have a hole where the armhole is. Initially I had made the armhole like this, but then at the underarm you would also have this shape. So it would theoretically stick up into the underarm, or it would naturally fold down, and it was uncomfortable. So like this, when you have this shape, this piece will be on the shoulder, so it will come like this, a V, and then at the underarm it will be nice and open so that the fabric can flow down on the side of your body. So that's the design idea for this, and for now I'm just making single rows of eyelets and just plain double crochets, and later on I will have some filet crochet patterns in each row, and there will be wider segments with some filet patterns. But first I need to reach the division for the underarm, for the armholes, and then I will introduce the filet patterns. This is very much still a work in progress, design wise as well as sample wise, but I hope to be able to send it out in a month if I can concentrate on it properly. So this is my main work in progress, and there are a few more that I want to show you. So I will set this aside for now while I show you other things that I've been working on. So if you remember from the last episode, I had started a cardigan in Tunisian crochet. This is made with a 5mm hook and sock yarn, and I finished the first ball of yarn. I have 2 balls of 800 meters of yarn, and I divided for the sleeves here. I cast on for the body, and this is the same width as one of these. So when I reach lower at some point, I will switch to a lace pattern. So for now I'm using this variegated yarn, and I started one of the sleeves with the second ball of yarn. I will make the sleeve up to about here, like on this one. And so first sleeve, I will make it down to here. I will attach yarn to the second sleeve to make it the same length. And then, because 400 grams of yarn will not be sufficient to make a full cardigan, I will use one of these to finish up the sleeve. So this much. And this is a mix of silk, alpaca and wool merino. It's a very soft wool and silk mix, so it will be very comfortable to wear around this very sensitive area on my arms. And once that's done, I will use up the rest of the yarn for the body, and when I run out of that yarn, I will continue in this color, and I will use one of the lace patterns that I have prepared. For example, I could use the one from the Jolly Larimar capelet, or the upcoming capelet which I drew the chart for, but which is not actually in work yet. So I have a lot of charts that go well with this kind of stitch pattern. So for now I'm not increasing at all in the body. I just increased enough to have the shoulders fit nicely. As you can see, the increases stopped here, and then I worked flat without increasing to reach the area where I would divide for the sleeves. I recommend doing this if you work top down with similar patterns, because this way you can decide how wide you want your sweater or cardigan in this case to be, and you don't have to compromise. You can stop early with the increases and then just continue flat until you reach the nice place for you to start the sleeves. If you continue increasing, you might get a very ballooning garment, and I don't like that. Maybe you like that, so if you like that, you can continue increasing. You want to measure around your shoulders where the arms start, and this is the circumference that you're going for in the yoke, and then the length of the yoke. You also measure from the underarm or a bit lower, depending on how much openness you want. More openness, you go higher. Less, you go lower. So this yoke depth will be different for different people, because we have different arm sizes. So people with very thin arms might have a smaller yoke depth for their preferred fit. So when you make a garment like this, you want to measure in this area all around your body, and then you want to measure this distance. Depending on how deep your neckline is, of course, that also plays a role. And in this pattern, I will make it variable. So if you want a wider neckline, you can make a narrower strap here, or if you want a smaller neckline, you can make this wider. This is just ribbing that fills out the space between your neck and the neckline. So this is how far I got, and I stopped because I started the other projects that I'm going to show you, including this one. And I wanted to finish this cardigan that I'm wearing, that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. So that's the cardigan that you saw last month. Another project that I showed you before, and it's not finished yet, is the featherly capelet. This is the equivalent of the plumaria capelet, but it's knit. Let me show you the front. So I have 10.5 feathers, and Melanie, who tested this pattern for me, has already finished hers. Knitting is slow for me, and I do it. You need to concentrate on this project. You can't just space out. So I need to work on it when I really have energy and concentration. So I've been doing it a bit here and there. I've been knitting outside a bit. Here in this room, it's quite peaceful, so I can concentrate on making half a feather once in a while. As you can see, this is just half a feather. I still have 100 grams of yarn left, so that's a slow project. And there's also the knit version of the fiery opal shawl. I'm also slowly making progress on that, and I will share it next month. I hope to have it finished by then, but I'm not making promises because I don't know what's gonna happen this month. Okay? So another whip that you know about and you've seen before a few months ago that I haven't made much progress on is this one. This is a filet crochet project that I was working on at the beginning of the year, and I got stuck in this bit. I kept remaking it because this is the middle of the cake of yarn. So I kept going back and forth and redesigning the middle. And in the end, I just ended up with one full pattern repeat on one half, and there will be the other pattern repeat on the other half. But I haven't really been working on it very much. As you can see, it's much bigger than the last time I shared it, and it's upside down. So this is the right side up, this shawl will actually have a right side up, so you can see a kind of a heart shape. The problem is that I chose that color for the middle, so most of the detail of the filet is lost because of this combination between the light and the dark color, and I will try to over dye it, but since it's 50% cotton and 50% acrylic, I don't know how well it would work. I will see when I'm finished. I still have almost half of the yarn cake left. This is also from Sparvole, from the first time that I bought yarn from them, more than a year ago. And I ordered 2 cakes then, 2 1500 meter cakes to make these filet shawls. I don't know when I will work on it. It's mostly a TV project for me, so I haven't been watching a lot of TV. I haven't been working on it. I think in winter, when it's dark outside and I just sit inside and crochet, I think that will be the time to finish it. But before that, there is still a lot of stuff coming up in the autumn, and one of them is a project that I'm more than halfway through, and I want to share with you because this time it's actually pretty successful. So 5 years ago I was in Italy at a conference, and I went to Milan and bought some souvenir yarn, as you do, or as I tend to do. And I bought this beautiful mix of wool and alpaca, and I had a plan for it. Since I had just started to design shawls, symmetrical shawls, rounded triangle shawls, I wanted to make one with honeycomb or bee pattern, and I got this yellow and a light dark gray color, and after I got home I got distracted with other things and nothing happened to the yarn. So it's been sitting in my stash for 5 years now, but it's always been in the back of my mind. Just I want to make the shawl with the bees, or with the mosaic, with something bee related. As you know, I love bees and honey. I mean, I don't like eating honey, but I like the idea of honey, and yeah, I have a lot of patterns relating to this theme, so I wanted to make something with actual bee shapes. And since I know how to do Tunisian crochet mosaic now, I decided to do that. And the middle part was easy. This is just a simple lace. I've used this before in another pattern. It's very cute, and it has a honeycomb like appearance if you look at it, if you look through it. And the mosaic part was really complicated to figure out. So I started drawing bees. I had not seen a mosaic bee. I looked them up to see what others have designed, so I wouldn't copy their patterns, and I didn't really find anything suitable. So this was my first iteration. As you can see, it's quite square. It has a lot of angles, angular you would call it, and you can't really see the bee. It's more like an angular butterfly. So this was the first experiment I did with the mosaic bee, and I really don't like the angular bits. So I tried searching for ways to make these straighter, so nicer looking, rounder edges. And I discovered that in mosaic crochet there are pattern makers who use diagonals. So they use stitches that go on the diagonal, and I said if they can do it in regular crochet, I can do it in Tunisian crochet mosaic. So that's what I did. And this was, after many other drawings, this was my second iteration of a bee. As you can see, it has the antennae on the diagonal, but here I messed up. So the third one was this, and they look very similar, but not, this one is not so angular. And that's what I did for the shawl. As you can see, we have bees. I still have to continue to add some yellow on the edge, and it will be quite a small shawl, but people will be invited, or I will recommend it, that you can use decay weight or worsted weight yarn to make a bigger shawl with the same pattern and a bigger hook. This is made with a 5mm hook, and you could use a bigger hook to get a bigger shawl. So I don't know how far this will take me, a few rows at least. I actually had to add some sock yarn to this section because the gray was not enough. So 100 grams of the gray and 100 grams of the yellow would not have been enough to make the whole shawl. But yeah. So now this is what we have. I'm not exactly sold on the shape of the bees. They still don't look bee-like to me, but this is what I have. And this is what I'm sticking with because I'm not remaking these. It took me a lot of time to figure out how to make these. And I was very happy to learn that Arunima from Knitter Knotter is also experimenting with this kind of mosaic. So this is my interpretation. We actually worked in parallel. We had no idea that the other person was working on this stuff. So great minds, right? So I was struggling with making the bees work, and I set them aside. I think I mentioned this in the previous episode, and I just let them be for a while. And recently I decided to use up some sock yarn that I got from a local yarn dyer in Erfurt. I usually buy a skein of hand-dyed sock yarn from this dyer when I go to the Oktoberfest there in Erfurt. So I would have liked to use up the yarn before I got any new one. And yeah, I usually get one skein. It's quite unique, so I tried to make cowls from this yarn. And I tried textured stitches, I tried lace, and nothing worked. And then I decided to make a mosaic pattern, because you can mix this beautiful 3D yarn with some white and get a nice mosaic pattern. And I wanted to make some leaves, but leaves, as you know, are quite rounded. So just making them with regular mosaic didn't work. And then I decided to figure out how to use the diagonals. So I started this project, and it's almost halfway through. You can see almost a full leaf here. So this one will have the pointy bit up, or the stem. So this will also be a pattern in the future. I want to make a full tutorial on how to make one of these because it's a lot of work. They are difficult to make, not so difficult to figure out, but as you can imagine, it's not so straightforward. And once I figured these out, the bees were, they were nothing. So the bees are super easy to make compared to the leaves, but I like them both, so both of them will be something. And I've been thinking, if I figured it out for Tunisian crochet, if I should try to figure it out for regular crochet. So I still have a lot of yarn in these colors, not the same yarn, but just sock yarn in a similar yellow and a similar gray, like the yarn I used for this swatch. And I could make a regular crochet version of this. Let me know if you're interested. If you're not interested, I'm not going to do the effort. But if you are, then I will try it. So the body would be starting like the raspberry croissant shawl with just the same shaping, and then there would be a section of mosaic, and then I have no idea, some kind of lace. And it would be nice to start with a yellow and make the bees in the dark gray and then continue with the dark gray. Just throwing ideas out there. That's what I'm planning anyway, long term. So first, finish this, write it up, get it tested, and then if anyone is interested in a regular crochet version, I will do that as well. And in knitting, I will not do it because I have no idea how to make diagonal stitches in knitting. Mosaic in knitting is different from this kind of mosaic. I am not going there anytime soon. I might actually design a cowl pattern with these bees. I tried making hexagons and it didn't work yet. I will try again. It's gonna take some time because when you look at the pattern of what this looks like in a grid, you will not see this. It is not possible to see this in a grid pattern because you have stitches with arrows in them, but the arrows don't translate into these long stitches. So when I publish the pattern, you will see what I mean. And when I make the video tutorial as well, I will share the pattern for 1B, and you can follow along with that and learn how to make them, and then you can easily make them in the shawl if you're interested in making a shawl. I was thinking of calling it something with a beeline. You know, there's the expression of making a beeline, so something along those lines. It's a long way in the future anyway, so that's planned but not made yet. So I think that's it for whips, and I have 2 finished projects. One of them I'm actually wearing right now. I wanted to finish this to wear to Berlin, but it wasn't finished in time, so it is now though. I want to show you how cute this is with the floofy bits here on the side. So originally the idea was to put some ties here and here, and then to overlap and to tie it in the back or in the front. And that's one way of wearing this, but I actually like it like this with the straight line in the front here. I had to use another color of yarn to finish off the sleeves and the front. I actually like this light blue better than the darker blue, but I'm not undoing any of that stuff, so it's gonna stay like this. I like it. It's nice to wear when it's not super warm but also not cold. It will be good for layering, and it fits very comfortably. As you can see, I can move my arms without changing anything. It's a very comfy piece of clothing, and I'm sure in a wool or a wool acrylic mix it would feel much warmer because this cotton yarn doesn't have any bloom to it, but a wool or an acrylic would have some bloom and it would be warm to wear. So in the back it's a bit shorter than on the sides, but it still reaches my hips down here. So one option in the pattern will be to just skip one of these triangles, so it will be quite shorter on the side to wear like this without the triangle here, so it would be more continuous around the body. But I like this extra bit here because it creates the flare, and I think it's a cute shape. And another finished project from this month is one I started this month. I made a cowl to demonstrate a simple tiling mosaic pattern for the upcoming Crochet Blanket Summit. I don't create a lot of blanket patterns, but I like to make tiling patterns. So my topic will be about tiling patterns in Tunisian crochet and how you can use them to make blankets in any size you like. And it took me a lot of work. I had to do a lot of work to get the video class ready for viewing this month in September. And yeah, I made a sample and I finished it for this mosaic, which is part of the class that I'm teaching in this event. This is just Mosaic Tunisian crochet, and I like how I was able to seam the sides almost perfectly, so you can almost not even see the seam. On the inside you can see it, of course, but on the outside it's almost invisible, which is nice. So I plan on making a video on how to seam mosaic patterns like this, because I think it's a good skill to have. And even if you mess up, you can fix it up with a tail that you have on the inside and just come outside with it and fix up anything that is off. I am planning to write a pattern for this. It's very simple and straightforward, and I used a sock yarn that was very colorful before, and I hand dyed it a few years ago already. So I over dyed it with some red and blue. And you can see I ran out of the blue around this area, so there's more blue here and just red on here. And yeah, I like how it came out with a very variegated color from the sock yarn mixed with this simple white yarn. This white yarn is also sock yarn, but it's made of plastic, so I would not recommend it for making socks. Still, I had it in my stash and I had to use it up, so I think this is a perfect combination. Whenever I wash this, if any color comes out, it will never get into the white, because the white doesn't accept any color from the colored yarn, which is 75% wool and 25% polyamide, like all sock yarns. So I think this is the perfect combination, and it's also much softer than regular sock yarn, so the combination is pretty soft compared to just plain sock yarn cowls, of which I have a few and I've been wearing them all winter and spring and autumn long. So if you want to use up some hand dyed yarn, I think making a mosaic pattern like this combined with a simple color would be perfect for that, which is why on my trip to Berlin I bought some yarn. Surprise, right? So this is some souvenir yarn that I got from Sparwolle. Yes, I paid for it with my own money. And I also got some liquid to put on the soles of your socks to make them non-slippery. I will use that for slippers. So this one I planned to make a mosaic with the two. I think they work quite well. And I got 2 hanks of hand-dyed yarn from Lana Grossa. They're made in India, so they're hand-dyed in India, and it's 80% wool and 20% polyamide. This is also sock yarn, and I plan on matching this up with the white yarn that I still have a few of those. Just like this one, I still have a bunch of this yarn left, so I want to match it with this skein of darker yarn with bits of color. And this one I will match with black or dark gray, because it's nice and light colored. This is what I recommend you do with similar yarns like this. If you buy a one-of-a-kind skein of yarn from some hand dyer that you visit or meet, this kind of project is what I recommend for these yarns. And yeah, these ones are also 100 grams each, and I'm not sure yet what I will make. For a shawl there's not enough yarn, but for a cowl it's too much. Maybe I will make a cowl with a V in the front, so you have a tube with a V and it looks like you're wearing a shawl, but you're actually wearing something more practical that doesn't open up when you wear it. I don't have any deadlines for these projects. I still need to write up a few cowl patterns. I still have some that are already written and still need to be published, but this month I decided I would take a break because I've been very tired recently and I just need a break. Then I can come back to making things with a lot of energy and joy. So yeah, for the past week I've been kind of resting, except for the weekend when I participated in my first ever bike race. Yay, I finished it. Fast, doesn't matter. But yeah, I finished. In September, as I told you before, there will be the Crochet Blanket Summit, hosted by Hortense of Knitting with Chopsticks. And I also signed up for a blog hop in October. It will be the sweater weather blog hop. But now in September we will have the Crochet Blanket Summit, and I hope that you will join us. I will definitely watch all the presentations because I love learning from fellow designers as well. And even if I don't really make blankets usually, I would still like to see what they prepared. So the event is free. You don't have to pay anything to attend. You just have to sign up. I will share the event link in the email updates. So if you're not yet subscribed to my weekly email updates, please do that, because that's where I will share the details of this event. The Crochet Blanket Summit will start on September 19th and it will last until Sunday. So September 19th on Thursday, and it will last until Sunday. So it's quite a big event, but you have time to watch your favorite designers and see what they have to say. There will also be lives like in the summit that I participated in the spring, but I won't be available to participate in a live, unfortunately. But I hope you will enjoy all the other designers who will have a live session with you. With that being said, that's it for me this month. I hope you share in the comments what you're working on. If you need help with anything, let me know. I'm always happy to help. Usually the best way to reach me is by email, andrea@yarnandy.com. And thank you for your continued support on here and on other platforms, including the Patreon, where you get one free pattern every month. And I will see you in the next episode. I wish you a restful and pleasant month of September, and I will see you soon. Bye!